Are you stuck in busyness or are you getting down to business?
Yeah.
Because I'm a master squirrel chaser and they're always hustling. And did you know that squirrels lose 40% of the nuts that they bury?
Because they don't have a system. Hey all, it is Sarah Noel Block, your host of Tiny Marketing, and it's so good to be here with you again. This week I'm sharing an interview that I had with Kathi Burns, the author of Master Your Muck. And it just keeps coming back to me. I've had like a crazy January where I've just been connecting with so many people, which is amazing. I love adding in that social piece into my lonely entrepreneur life. But it's also been pretty crazy where it's hard to schedule in everything else, the marketing, the client work, and everything in between. But Kathi Burns in this conversation shared how she creates buckets, day buckets. And I started to do that. So as I realized that I was taking on this thing that I learned from Kathi, I was like, now is the time to share this episode. So she has this concept where you basically create these batch days in your week. It's like, I'll give an example of what I do. So Monday is marketing day. And that is the day that, one, all of my coaching takes place on that day. But also I record all of my podcasts that day. I get everything scheduled out for the week. I write my marketing emails that day. Everything gets done in the morning 4 hours on Monday. It's my Monday marketing, and I do not schedule any meetings that day because it's all about tiny marketing and getting my stuff done. And as I started to do that and then setting like client days in my calendar, so only my clients can book those days. And then like days for connection calls, networking. I started to schedule all of this out ahead of time and realized I'm just stealing what Kathi taught me in this conversation. I'm going to share my conversation with Kathi Burns, the author of Master Your Muck, and she's going to teach you some real freaking gems about how you can build systems so you're not living in your busyness. You are mastering your business. And stay tuned. She's coming right up. So let's talk about experiencing overwhelm. What habits can you put in place to avoid that?
Well, the number one thing is plan your day before it plans you. And I know that we've all heard this, but it's so very true. If you know what you're going to do before you start your day, you will feel less sense of overwhelm. And I like to use the Ivy Lee method. It's one of my favorites. I mean, I play around with all the different types of time management, but Ivy Lee had it going on. He's a guy who invented a system that you only have 3 to 5 things that you're going to do that day. That's it, 3 to 5. And you know that you can accomplish 3. And maybe you'll get to the last 2. So what you do is you mark down 5 things that you're going to get accomplished today before the day starts, right? Or before, as soon as you sit down at your desk before you do anything, but preferably the night before. You have these 5 things that you're going to accomplish that day. And then you start at and then you number them 1 through 5. You start at number 1, and number 1 is usually the one that you don't want to do. Yeah, do that one first, eat the frog first, and then move on down to 2 and 3. If at the end of the day you still have 4 and 5 left over, guess what happens the next day?
Moves on over.
4 and 5 become 1 and 2, and then you add on 3, 4, 5. It really helps you feel like you're in control. And what I love about it for me is it is a litmus for what I actually did that day. Because if you don't have a list at the end of the day, I mean, it happens to me, it happens to everybody. It's like, what did I actually do today?
Yeah.
What did I do? I don't know. I it's like you're typically when that happens, you're in reaction mode. You have been reacting to different things that people want from you. And, it happened to me the other day because all I did all day was respond to speaker points, talking points, headshots, all that busy stuff. And it has to be done. But was I able to accomplish one of two things? Yes, I got two big things done that I needed to get done. So even though I felt like all day was reacting to people's requests, right? Uh,
Mhm.
of from me, I actually did knock off a couple things that moved me towards a project that I was working on.
Yeah, and it really does change your mindset too when you didn't make that list and you were busy all day, but it was busy. You didn't actually accomplish anything. Then at the end of the day, you're like, God, what happened to those 8 hours?
I was like, "I'm exhausted." And
Yeah.
and then but I was stuck in busyness,
Ugh.
I talk about that a lot, like, are you stuck in busyness or are you getting down to business?
Yeah.
Because I'm a master squirrel chaser, I love squirrels. They are always hopping around, they're always hustling. And did you know that squirrels lose 40% of the nuts that they bury?
No, because they don't have a system.
Well, I think it's a good thing for Mother Nature, but I started thinking about it and I was having an aha moment going, oh my God, they are 40% efficient, right? As entrepreneurs, and normally we're 20% efficient. So
Ugh.
actually have one up on us. Well, even though they're jumping around from branch to branch, they're doing things. It's like entrepreneurs were like squirrel, they're getting more done than we are typically.
Well,
So
don't mind me as I go off and cry about that.
yeah, can we be more efficient than squirrels? This is my goal. Right. I want to be more, I want to get at least to that 22, 23, 24% mark. I don't think I could ever beat them at 40%. I could sure try.
It's hilarious that that is our radar for we're being productive is, "Can I beat a squirrel?"
Hey, they have missions. You'll see them. And you know what? You cannot keep them off your feeder. I've had a lot. This is why I talk about squirrels because I've had a long. I love them, but I have had a long-term battle with my squirrels to stop eating the daggone bird seed.
Mm,
And I've tried so many different things to keep them off my feeder, and they're persistent. They're ambitious, just like
they
entrepreneurs.
had
They're
goals.
persistent. Yeah, we just keep at it. But are we in busyness or are we really getting down to business? That's the question of the day. That's always the question I ask myself.
Yeah, yeah, I felt that way yesterday. I ended up working all day on this sales page for a workshop that I'm putting on, and I'm like, was that what happened to my day? Because I didn't you know what? It was incredibly valuable, and I did spend my time doing the right thing, but I'm so used to spending my time on client-facing, client stuff, that working on the business felt wrong, you know?
Yeah.
It felt like busyness, even though it was an important thing to do.
That was a big project that you knocked off, but
Yeah. If I
it
wrote it down, I would have felt different about it, I think.
absolutely. And that's the entrepreneurial thing. Like, are we working with our clients? Or are we working on our business or in our business? What and how do we balance both? Because that's very important. And it is like a normal thing, Sarah, to feel guilty about spending the whole day on a sales page as opposed to serving your clients. But you have to do that, otherwise you'd have no clients. So like
Right?
what came first, second, and third, right?
I
And
know.
how do we balance it?
It felt so dumb to me that I felt guilty about this when I'm like, I wouldn't have any clients to serve if I didn't do this." So, why am I feeling guilty about it?
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's talk more about getting out of this busyness. You talked about the 5 things strategy. Do you have anything else any tips that we can take to get out of this habit of getting sucked into like you were saying, responding to other people's requests all the time?
Yeah, well, number one tip, and I know you've heard this, but rarely do we do it. I don't. Don't check your emails first thing in the morning ever. Never, never, never go to your inbox first thing. Because I don't know if you're aware, but every single email is a call to action. So
Yeah,
every
it really
email
is.
that you read is a reactive thing. You're not being proactive. The only time you're proactive in your inbox is if you're sending an email. And think about this, every time you send an email, it's because you want someone else to do something.
That reminds me, I saw this meme where it was like, um, check that thing off the list, replying to someone's email, and then they respond right away and they're like, damn it, it's back on my list.
Exactly, exactly. So never check your inbox first thing in the morning. I like to have premeditated times and I like to have a timer so I don't get sucked into it. I love Gmail because it does separate out my categories. So I go into promotions every day and I just blanket check all of them and then delete. So it's easier to deal with your inbox when you have things, parceled out.
Yeah, I
That's
actually have 2 tricks related to that.
Oh, let's hear
So
'em.
recently, I set up a filter in my Gmail where anything that says unsubscribe in it goes into a marketing and newsletters folder. And some of them I really, really love. So I do want to read them. I don't want to delete them, but they're there. So I can do that when I have the time to do that. And then the other thing is Boomerang. I have Boomerang set up so I only get like I get the influx of the emails at certain times of the day, so I can't check them
Yeah,
because I won't get them until noon or whatever the set is.
that's cool. I use Boomerang, but I haven't used it for inbound. I use it for outbound. So I'm gonna have to definitely check into that. I love Boomerang's really cool. Another thing that I do a lot, and it really helps me stay on track, is I do what I consider umbrellaing each day with an intention. So we wear a lot of hats as entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So take, for instance, a Monday for me is always my planning day. That's my overarching day where I'm going to plan and just, figure out what I'm doing for the entire rest of the week. And getting organized, right? It's getting organized, planning, administration, all that good, that goopy stuff.
Yeah.
Tuesday for me, I'm focusing on speaking. So, what am I doing? What am I writing for my keynotes? What am I speaking? What are my topics? So, it's a speaking day. I have a Wednesday, I have a marketing day. So, what am I doing? My overarching view is okay, I'm focusing on the marketing. So, every day has a theme, or I call it an umbrella of intention for each day of my week. I have client days. My client days are Saturday or Friday, Saturday, Monday, right? Or yeah, and Tuesday's planning now. It all just changed. So, but having that overall idea of what's going to happen that day, because we all have projects, right? So we might have a writing project, we might have a speaking project, we might have a marketing project, like what day is the best day to do that for yourself? And
I
to have
like that.
overarching intention is actually really good. That way, if someone comes in and says, "Hey, I want you to do this," I'm like, "Oh, okay. Wednesdays, I'm speaking. Speak, 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 Wednesday. So let's do that kind of gig on a Wednesday." Or maybe they want to talk about some new concept for marketing. So I'm in marketing brain on this day. So let's do it then. So having that idea, I think really helps keep you focused and on task because from a time management perspective, anytime you switch tasks, you lose about 27 minutes in between. Like you can't
Wow.
switch to switch to switch. You lose traction. So having that overall theme also will help you, or the umbrella of intention for your day will help you stay on track and get more done in less time, which we all want to do that.
I love that. So I have batching days, which I feel like might be the same as your intention days. So I set up so no one can book meetings with me on Mondays or Fridays. And Mondays are usually my internal day, any internal things and catch up. And then Fridays are my marketing day. And then client days are Tuesday through Thursday.
Perfect.
Yes, and it does make it a lot better. I've been on vacation though, which is why I felt so guilty, I think, yesterday that I was working on an internal thing on an off day.
Yeah, because 'cause you're not used to that. You're like,
Yeah, everything shifted and I was like, "Oh, this is not the day I'm allowed to be working on this."
Yeah. Yeah. So that's, I mean, you're doing exactly that. I have a whole chapter in my book about that, about, the umbrellaing each day with your intention. And, you call it batching. Everybody calls it different things. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you do something along that line, it's going to help you also know how to respond. When people want you to do specific things, you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm already doing that kind of thing on that day. So let's put it there. Right? So
Yeah.
it allows you also to control events and plan events better, for upcoming things that people want you to do or that you even want to do. I knock off all my podcast from my show, Organize and Energize. I do that one day a month and I film five that day, as you know, because we were here on my
Yeah,
podcast.
I remember you telling me when I was on your podcast that I think I was the last one of the day.
It's like boom, 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 boom. That's my podcast day. It's done. I have a month plus one, for future reference, or sometimes if you have a 5-week month. But that way I'm covered and I'm on, right? I'm in podcast mode. So I'm doing it.
Yeah, that does make it so much easier when, again, I'm going to go back to the phrase batching, but when you batch, you get in that frame of mind and you can do things so much better because you're in that mode of doing that thing that day.
Yeah. And you don't lose the time in between the shift because, at the best, we lose 11 minutes. Usually it's 27 minutes as we're switching from
That's
task to task.
crazy. I can't believe it's that much.
Yeah. Think about it. Your mind has to completely shift into, okay, here's my next task, right? And so you're
Yeah.
kind of wrapping up. You're still thinking about the old one. You're starting to get into the new one. And yeah, and then then you're in it, but it's, a good at least 20 minutes in between. So guard your time like it's your life because it is.
Mm,
Time is finite.
yeah. Non-renewable resource.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so what you were talking about with the intentions and being able to move these tasks to certain days, I just wanted to do a little trick, but going back to that Boomerang app, you can also schedule for an email that you receive to be pushed back into your inbox. It disappears and it pushes back in on that batch day. So then
Ooh,
you don't even see it when it's not time for it to be that like on your radar.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I have to take a boomerang class. I just have been winging it. I found it, did it, started using it. But yeah, I definitely want to learn more about boomerang. It sounds like it's highly effective for you for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I had a period of time actually, I had to learn it because I had a period of time where between VAs and my VAs always do my inbox, and I was like, "Well, I need to do something because this is overwhelming," and that's when I started pausing my inbox until I had, like, the hour that I was willing to look at my inbox.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when I dug in deep. Okay,
That's
we scrap
necessity. Necessity, right?
yes. Can you tell me about the resource you're sharing with Tiny Marketing?
Absolutely. I'd like to offer a free copy of a free autograph copy of my book.
Ooh.
Snail mail. And, yeah, you can go to masteryourmuck.com and you can grab a copy of this book. And it is designed for entrepreneurs and to create systems to run in the background of your business so that you can
I
run
love
the business.
that.
Yeah. And, you just help me pay shipping and I ship it out to you. I autograph it and send it out and you can get it. You'll get an actual copy of the book.
That is awesome, guys. Take her up on this. It's gonna be in the show notes, so sign up for that. I am. I am for sure. I need to master my muck.
We all
Now
have muck.
so okay, don't we? How can everyone work with you and find you online?
I am at organizedandenergized.com. So if you feel like you need to get organized and you need some energy around it, I'm your go-to girl. So go to organizeandenergize.com. You can also download a free productivity checklist to kind of, keep yourself in line. But the book will have everything that you need to just really focus in on it. What happens with the book is there's 3 questions at the beginning of each chapter. Because let's get real, no one reads a whole book. I mean, I'm an author, I'm a speaker. I read whole books, but not very many people do. So at the beginning of each chapter, there's 3 questions. And if you resonate with, two of the three, you might want to start there. If you only resonate with one of the questions, just skip the chapter. It goes into contact management, your database, your inbox, your goal setting, your umbrellaing intentions, all that stuff. So every different chapter addresses a different part of running a business. So you can start with the questions and know where to actually what to read in the book. Because I know that people don't read whole books, but I still love a book. I still like paper.
Well, that is smart because some books are designed to go to certain pieces, to be a resource, while
Yeah,
others are written to be read beginning to end. But
right.
I mean, when you're talking about systems, it makes sense. Not every system is going to apply to every entrepreneur. So you should be skipping around.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for joining me in today's episode. Kathi Burns dropped some amazing nuggets. So I'm just going to reiterate some of my favorite points that you should be creating batching days where you just assign all of the tasks for a certain aspect of your job to a certain day. You get your brain in that mode and you can get things done a lot faster. She also talked about not checking your email first thing in the morning, which I am terrible at. I'm always checking my email at like 5 a.m. Come on, Sarah. Kathi told you to stop it. She also talked about how you don't need to read a whole book. Skip around to the parts that matter so you are getting the information that you need in the time that you have. And last, guard your time. There is no more finite of a resource than your time. Don't give it away freely. Pick and choose the things that you want to spend your energy and your time on. And I like to do a 20-minute rule that if a meeting can be done in 20 minutes, it's going to be done in 20 minutes. I think it's called the Pareto rule. Michelle Trezmer talked about it in one of the podcast episodes. I'm going to pause so I can actually look up what that was. Boop-a-doo, I'm back. Okay. After doing a little bit of time travel, going back in time to April of 2023, I found that she talked about the Pareto principle in episodes 35 and 36. It was a 2-part episode on marketing efficiencies and how to market on a time crunch. So I'll drop those in the show notes so you can easily go listen to those. They were some of my most listened to episodes. Michelle's a brilliant person. So shout out to Michelle Trezmer for being a friend of the show and an amazing person too. Thanks again for being amazing humans and listening to Tiny Marketing. Please rate, review, and tell a friend about the show if you found it helpful. And email me. Oh my gosh, can I tell you, just real quick, that every time I receive a DM, a comment, an email about how this show has helped improve your marketing and even like your mental health around feeling burned out when it comes to marketing, it just makes me feel so good. And I have a little folder that I call nice things people say, and I drop it in there. So don't think that it goes on deaf ears. I really, really appreciate it because it's hard being a content creator and not knowing if anybody actually values what you're teaching. So anytime I get those notes, it means the world to me. I screenshot, I save them. I love you. Thank you for all of your loyalty and your amazingness. I'll see you next week. Bye.